Hi guys, good afternoon. Today we are here at Whitney Plantation here in New Orleans. Whitney Plantation Museum is the only museum in Louisiana with an exclusive focus on the lives of enslaved people. The plantation was started in 1752 by German immigrants Ambroise Hadel and his wife, and their descendants owned it until 1867. And now in front of me is the Antioch Baptist Church 1870. This church was built in Paulina, LA by freedmen formerly known as the Antioch Baptist Congregation. It formed out of a mutual aid society. This congregation, now called the First Community Antioch Baptist Church, still exists in 1999. They generously donated this original structure to Whitney Plantation. Inside the church, you will see the Children of Whitney, a series of sculptures by Ohio-based artist Woodrow Nass, represent the former slaves as they were at the time of emancipation. Children. Whitney presents the story of these children as told in their own words. The visitors are introduced to the lives of the enslaved workers based on the recollection of those who endured and who shared the stories of their lives as children in slavery. And now we are heading to the Wall of Honor. This memorial is dedicated to over 350 people who were enslaved on this plantation between 1752 to 1865. The names come from inventories, sales record, and manumission documents. West and Central African name can be seen on this memorial, as well as European names given to these people by enslaved. Next is a blacksmith shop. It was built in 2002 on the site where the blacksmith shop once stood. Blacksmiths were skilled workers who made common implements like curtain rods, door hinges, and cooking tools. Some original pieces made by enslaved blacksmiths are still in use in the big house. Next stop is the jail ca 1870 to 1890. This jail was manufactured after the Civil War and used in Gonzales, Louisiana. Similar in the design to slave jail, this structure was likely used in the era of convict leasing to house men who were often unjustly arrested and put to work on infrastructure projects like building roads. This is the slave quarters. The enslaved families lived together in these cabins until they were separated by death, escape, or the slave trader. Outside, they often grew small garden plots and raised livestock. These are the plots where they plant their vegetables. Sugar kettles were used inside the sugar mill to boil cane juice and make granulated sugar. In 1860, 50-year-old Gran Lewis and 45-year-old Tom were the head sugar makers on this plantation. 35-year-old Green worked under them. These men were sold from the Upper South in the domestic slave trade. This is the 1811 Slave Revolt Memorial. It commemorates the German coast uprising of 1811, a rebellion of some 500 black enslaved people in an area outside New Orleans, Louisiana. Many of the enslaved people involved in the rebellion were killed in battle. Many others were tried and executed, and their heads were displayed on poles as a warning to the other enslaved people. The memorial was created by the artist Woodrow Nash. This is the Field of Angels. This memorial honored 2,200 enslaved children who died in St. John the Baptist Parish between 1823 to 1863. Disease and harsh labor created high death rates. Enslaved mothers suffered tremendously. Francois is one of them. An enslaved laundress on this plantation lost 5 children by age of 23. 3 died within 1 month. Now we are heading to the memorial. This is the name of the slave memorial dedicated to 107,000 people enslaved in Louisiana and documented in the Louisiana Slave Database, built by Gwendolyn Medlow Hall. This is the longboat that were used by the slave ship crews upon arrival in Africa. They rowed upriver to gather slaves and taken aboard, chained and brought to other place. And then they were loaded on the main ship and taken to slave market. The slaves were referred to as cargo. It's so quiet. So, kailangan mo is do a lot of readings. And now we are on our way to the big house. And here we are finally at the big house. The big house. The big house was the plantation owner's home. Enslaved laborers built this raised Creole cottage in 1790 from cypress and bricks. The Hadel family lived here for 75 years. Enslaved domestics live in slave quarters that once stood behind the big house. The big house is one of the finest surviving examples of Spanish Creole architecture. and one of the earliest raised Creole cottages in Louisiana. It is one of the best preserved Creole plantation houses standing on the river road. Sometime prior to 1815, the big house was rebuilt in its present configuration with 7 rooms on each level, plus a full-length gallery across the front and an open loggia facing the rear. Moreover, it is one of the very few historic American houses known to have received decorative wall paintings on both its exterior and its interior. The kitchen is believed to be the oldest detached kitchen in Louisiana. The kitchen was an annex of the big house. In the 1819 inventory of the Hadel Plantation, where the 2 cooks for the Hadel family at that time as Creoles born in Louisiana, they would have used European recipes along with Creole recipes such as gumbo, jambalaya, crawfish etouffee, and smoothed okra, which they concocted from European, African, and Native American foodways. Cooks were always chosen for their skills but also for being well-trusted persons. After we done with the kitchen house, it's raining hard now, so we are glad that most of the area we already see it. So now it's raining and we are ready for it because we have a raincoat with us. We go further and there are more houses in this area, but the thing is it's restricted. Only the staff can go through. It's kind of super quiet and it's rainy, so it's kind of creepy, I think, and I don't know what to feel during this time. So
Okay, stand up here in the middle.
it's just the 2 of us
Stand up
in
the
there,
middle.
so we like rush and running going to my husband. So now we are going back to the main building. So I hope you learned something from this video. Thanks for watching, and please do subscribe, share, and like. Bye.